let's proceed to number 22. So here we have bearing. So if we are familiar with the bearing, it is the angle formed by the north vertical line and the terminal side in clockwise direction. So the bearing is always from the north and then in clockwise direction. So the diagram below shows the direction of the three locations from Erin's home. We have the school, the church, and the beach, and from the reference point, home. Find the bearing of school from home. Okay. So what is the bearing from the home? What is the direction of the school? It's determining the specific direction of the school with reference to the home. So that is what we call bearing. Okay. So from north going to the school. Okay. From the north direction of the home going to school. So that is 42 degrees, as you can see in the diagram. Okay. As we define bearing, it is the angle formed by the north of the reference point going to the location in clockwise direction. And then letter B, we need to find the bearing of the church from home. Okay. So from the north of the home going to the second location, which is the church. And it should be in clockwise direction. So I'll give you a minute to give your answer. You can chat or you can just say your answer here. So again, what is the bearing of the church from home? The second location now is church. Do you have now the answer? First thing we need to do is to get the measure of this angle. Okay. What is the measure of this angle? You have 42, 67, and 81. One revolution, which means one circle is equal to 360 degrees. So if you have 81, 67, and 42 to get the measure of this angle, so you're going to subtract from 360 all these numbers. So minus 81, minus 67, and then minus 42. So that will give you the measure of this angle, and it is equal to 170 degrees, correct? So this is 170 degrees. Now, if we want to know the bearing of the church from home, that means from north going to the second location, which is the church. It is always from north in clockwise direction. So it is 170 plus 42, or 42 plus 170, correct? So what's the answer? Again, to get the bearing of church from home, it is 170 plus 42. So you will have 212 degrees. Okay? And then letter C, what is the bearing of the home from school? The bearing of the home from school. So this time, the reference point is what? It is the school. So from school, we're going to make the north. Okay. And then we'll do an angle from north going to the home. The location is the home. The reference is the school. If we say find the bearing of the home from school, so this angle is what we need. Now, how are we going to solve for this angle? As you can see, 42 And this angle, 42, and this angle are what? They are collinear. And angles on the same line are supplementary. So we can have the measure of this angle. And after having the measure of this angle, we will have the measure of the bearing of the home from school. So this angle first, since again, this 42 degrees and this angle are collinear, so we can get the value or the measure of this angle by subtracting 42 from 180. So that will give us 138. Okay, so this is 138 degrees. And then to get the bearing of home from school, so again, the whole circle or one revolution is 360 minus 138. So this will give us 222 degrees. So it's 222. Okay, you already have the degrees on the blank, so we don't need to put degrees. Question. Okay, let's proceed. The next number here. Okay. So we're going to plot and graph. Letter A, write down the y-intercept of the line. So what is a y-intercept? The y-intercept is the intersection of the graph and the y-axis. Okay, so locate where is the point where the y-axis and the graph intersects. And we can see that at this point, we have the intersection. So that is your y-intercept. Okay, when you write the y-intercept, it should be in coordinates. So the coordinates of that point is 0, 7. Okay. Now, another interpretation of y-intercept, it is a point where your x is equal to 0. Okay. So the x coordinate is at 0, and then you have the y coordinate at 7. That's why the coordinate of your y-intercept is 0, 7. Letter B. Find the gradient of the line. Gradient or the slope. How steep is the line? The inclination. Now we're going to have an idea about the inclination since we can see that the behavior or the trend of the graph is from upper left going to the lower right. So it means that the slope is negative. It is decreasing. Now to solve for the gradient, we're going to identify 2 points that is on the line. We have 1, 0, 7, and then identify an exact point on the line. Okay? So we can have this point and the coordinates is 2, 3. The formula for the slope denoted by m is the change in y over the change in x. So the difference in y is 7 minus 3 over the difference in x is 0 minus 2. So it will give us 4 over negative 2. So the slope is 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Okay? So as you can see, we got a negative slope, which indicates that the behavior of the graph or the direction of the graph is decreasing. Question. Okay. Next. For letter C, we have to draw the line y is equal to 5. So at the y coordinate, we can find there 5. And then when we say y is equal to 5, it is a horizontal line. So this line, okay, is y is equal to 5. Okay, so that's letter C. And then letter D, write down the coordinates where the lines intersect. So this is the point of intersection. And let us read its coordinate is at 1, 5. Okay? So that is the coordinates, 1, 5. So y is equal to 5 is a horizontal line. So if there is x is equal to 5, it will be a vertical line. Okay? Question. Okay, so you can copy or take a screenshot of the solution. Okay, let's proceed to number 24. I think, yes, this is the last number for paper 1. And we're going to proceed to paper 2. Number 24, a car is listed at a cash price of 18,000. Okay, someone is. Okay. The hire purchase plan includes a 20% down payment on the cash price. So monthly payments of 675 for 2 years. So calculate the total hire purchase cost of the car. So again, we have $18,000 for the cash price. And the hire purchase is 20% down payment of the cash price and a monthly of 675 for 2 years. So how are we going to compute for the total hire purchase? So first we need to get 20% of the cash price. So that is multiplying 18,000 by convert 20% into decimal, it is 0.2. So 18,000 times 0.2 will give you how much? It's 3,600. Okay? And then for the monthly payment, 675. Okay? You're going to pay monthly in a year, that is 12 months, and in 2 years, times 2, or it's 675 times 24. Okay? 675 times 12 times 2, or 675 times 24. That's the monthly payment for 2 years. So this will give you how much? Can you double check? It's 16,200. Okay. And therefore, to get the total hire purchase, we're going to add the 20% down payment on the cash price and then the monthly payment for 2 years. So it is 3,600 plus 16,200. So that will give you a total purchase of $19,800. Question? Okay. So that's the end of paper 1. So we're going to proceed to paper 2. Okay. Okay. Let's start with number 1. So a college sent out 3,150 invitation to their summer graduation. 5,000 invitations were sent out last year. Find the percentage decrease in invitations sent. So the formula to get the percentage change, whether it is percentage increase or decrease, is so percentage change is equal to new minus old divided by old. And then to express it in percentage, we multiply it to 100 or 100%. So here, if we want to know the decrease in the percentage or the decrease in the number of invitations, we're going to subtract 3,000, the new 3,150 minus 5,000 divided by 5,000. And then we can multiply that by 100 to get the percentage. Okay? 3,150 minus 5,000 and then divided by 5,000 times 100. So that will give you a negative value. You may indicate the negative, or you can just indicate that this is a decrease. Okay? The negative sign here only indicates that the change is a decrease. So it's 37%. Okay, next one. Number 2, represent each sentence as an algebraic inequality. So how are we going to translate this statement into mathematical symbols? X is at most 69. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds to translate these three statements, I, double I, and three I's. You may write your answer in your paper. So again, 30 seconds. Okay, an algebraic inequality is a mathematical statement that express that the expressions are not equal. So it uses the following symbols like less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater than or equal, but very rare to use the symbol not equal. But it is also part of the inequality symbols. Now, these are the phrases or the words that indicate inequalities. At most, at least, we also have less than, as I mentioned, greater than, not equal, minimum, maximum. So those are the terms or the phrases that we can translate as inequality. Okay, let me help you this time. So at most, when we say at most, that is less than or equal. So remember that. At most, which means that is the maximum value. Okay, that is max value at most, and it is translated as less than or equal. So x is at most 69. So it is x is less than or equal to 69. How about at least means the minimum? It is the lowest possible value. And at least is translated into symbol as greater than or equal. So y is at least 100. And therefore, how are you going to translate statement 3? It is the minimum value of z is 25. So z is minimum value is greater than or equal to 25. Okay? Letter B. Draw a number line showing the inequality n is greater than or equal to 2. So this symbol again is at least, or it indicates the minimum value. Okay? So if you're going to illustrate it using number line, first you have to establish your origin and put some negative. But as we can see, our reference point is positive 2. Okay? You have here the positive 2. And then remember in plotting, we use two different points. We have the hollow point or the open circle that is used for these two inequalities, less than and greater than. And then another type is the solid circle. We use the solid circle if the inequality is less than or equal, greater than or equal. So therefore, n is greater than or equal to 2 is a solid point at 2, which means it is part of the solution. And since it is the minimum value, it can go higher. So going to the right. Okay. So that's it. That's the illustration of n is greater than or equal to 2. Got it? Okay. Next, number 3. There are several t-shirts on a rack in a store. Two-thirds are white, one-eighth are pink. All the remaining t-shirts are blue. So for letter A, find the fractions of t-shirts that are blue. All right. So for us to get the fraction of the t-shirts that is blue, first we are going to add two-thirds and one-eighth. So two-thirds plus one-eighth. So to add this, we need to get the LCD. The LCD of 3 and 8 is 24. So the first fraction to make the denominator 24, so we're going to multiply it by 8 over 8. So that will be 16 over 24. Then the second fraction to make it over 24, we're going to multiply it by 3 over 3. So that will be 3 over 24. And since they are now similar fractions, we can simply add the numerator. 16 plus 3 is 19 over 24. So this is the part, or this is the ratio when we combine the ratio of white shirts and pink t-shirts. Now we're asked to get the fraction of the blue t-shirt. It is the remaining number of t-shirts. So the total number of t-shirts, we can represent it as 1, okay? And that is equivalent to 24 over 24. So we use the denominator to express 1 as fraction. It is 24 over 24. And then to solve for the fraction of the t-shirt from the whole or from the total, we're going to subtract 19 over 24, which is the combined fraction of white and pink. So this is white or pink. And then subtract it from 1. So that will give you 5 over 24. So 5 over 24 is the fraction of blue shirts. Okay. Now, there are 20 blue t-shirts on the rack. Find the total number of t-shirts on the rack. Okay? 20 blue t-shirts. So that is equivalent to 5 over 24 of the total number. So 5 over 24 of the total number. So let us represent the total number as x. So when you multiply 5 over 24 to x, it will give you 20. Again, x is your total number of t-shirts. Multiplying the fraction to the total number will give you the number of t-shirts. And therefore, if we have 5 over 24 as the fraction of blue, multiply it to x, which is the total number, is equal to 20. I want to know if you understand how we solve or how we create the equation. Do you have any question how we formulated the equation for letter B? Okay, let us continue. So 5 over 24x is equal to 20. So to solve this, we're going to cross multiply 24 and 20, and then divide it by 5. So this is x is equal to 20 times 24 divided by 5. You can cancel out 20 and 5. That will give you 4. 20 divided by is 4. And then 4 times 24 is 96. And therefore, there are 96 t-shirts. You may copy the solution or take a screenshot of the solution. Question. Okay, let us proceed to number 4. Fisherman has 10 groupers for sale. The mean weight of the 10 groupers is 14 kilograms. He sells 2 groupers that weigh a total of 32 kilograms. Find the mean weight of the remaining groupers. So there are how many groupers? Let's say your n is equal to 10 for the number of groupers. Now the mean weight of the 10 groupers is 14, which means the total weight, okay, if we want to know the total weight, we are going to multiply this. The number of groupers times the mean. So the total weight is 140 kilograms. Okay. Now, he sold 2 groupers that has a total weight of 32. So we're going to deduct that from 140 to get the remaining weight of groupers. So 140 times 32 is 108 kilograms. So this is the weight of the remaining groupers. Okay? Find the mean weight of the remaining groupers. So that 108 is composed of 8 groupers since 2 are sold. So we have 108 to get the mean. So we need to divide the total by the number of groupers. So we have 108 divided by 8. So it will give you 13.5 kilograms. So that is the mean weight of the remaining 8 groupers. Question? Okay. Let's proceed to number 5. Okay, I'll give you a minute to analyze number 5. Let me read. The interior angle of a regular polygon is 162 degrees. A. Calculate the size of each exterior angle. B. Calculate the number of sides of the polygon. So a minute to analyze. Write your answer in your paper. Once you have the answer, you can chat or say your answer. You have the answer now. So remember, it is a regular polygon, which means all sides are equal. All sides, all angles are equal, both. Okay? All sides and all angles are equal when we say regular polygon. Now, meaning to say that all interior angles is 162, but we do not know how many sides do we have. Now, the exterior angle can be computed if we have its interior angle. Okay, as we know, the exterior and the interior are supplementary. Actually, they are linear pair. So let's say this is our interior angle. This is our exterior angle. So the interior and exterior are linear pair. So interior plus exterior is equal to 180. So given that the interior is 162 degrees, to compute for the exterior, so we simply subtract 162 from 180. So that will give us 18 degrees. Correct? Now, another formula, if the polygon is regular and you have the exterior angle, you can compute for the number of sides. So let n be the number of sides. So it is equal to 360 degrees divided by the exterior angle. Again, this is a formula. 360 divided by the exterior angle will give you the number of sides. So therefore, we have 360 divided by 18. And that will give us 20. Okay? So the number of sides is 20. It's a 20-sided polygon. So what is important in answering geometry-related problems is you know the formula, you know the theorem that you need to apply. So here in number 5, we apply the concept of regular polygons plus the concept of the interior and exterior angles in a polygon plus the number of sides given the exterior angle. Question? Okay. All right. Next, number 6. So we have vectors. When we say vectors, these are measurements plus direction. Okay. So that is vectors. We have the measurement and direction. So write as column vectors A and B. So this is line A, this is line B. As you can see, there is an arrow that is a basic property of vectors. It is not just the magnitude or numbers, but it has direction. So for A, the vector is, you need to get the coordinates, okay, by counting the number of boxes. Yep. So since the direction is going downward, so your A is, so the vector is equal to x and y. X is the horizontal distance, horizontal, and y is the vertical. Okay? So the horizontal, we're gonna connect the two endpoints like that. So count the number of boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5 in x. And then 1, 2, 3. So the direction is going down. So the vertical or the y coordinates is -3. So that is vector A, 5, -3. Okay. How about vector B? What is the magnitude or the vector column? Okay. So you can connect the endpoints of your line and then count the number of horizontal and vertical. So this is your x, this is your y. Again, this is your x, this is your y. And then you write the vector column x, y. And take note the direction. Okay. So going to direction from this point, 1, 2. Okay. So your x is -2. And from here, going down, so that is -5. Take note, if your x is going to the left, it is negative. If your x is going to the right, that's positive. If your y is going upward, that's positive. If your y is going downward, that is negative. That's how we interpret the direction. Okay, that's letter A. Letter B is we're going to add the vector. So A plus B, so that means 5, -3 plus -2, -5. So we're going to add the magnitude 5 plus -2 and then -3 plus -5. So that will give us 5 plus -2 is 3. And then -3 plus -5 is -8. How about 2A? All right, I'll give you 30 seconds to solve for 2A. Okay, 2A is multiplying the vector by the constant 2. So that's 2 times 5, -3. So you're going to distribute 2 to 5 and -3. So that will be 2 times 5 and then 2 times -3. So that will give you 10, -6. Okay, question. Okay, take a screenshot. And then let's move on to question number 7. Samantha leaves home at 7:55 a.m. and drives 75 kilometers to work at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. It takes 15 minutes for her to walk from the parking lot at work to her office. Determine her arrival time at the office. So she left at 7:55 a.m. So we need to solve for the total time of her travel from home to work, including the walk from the parking to the office. Okay? So to solve for the time, so we have the formula. Okay, the speed is equal to distance divided by time. And therefore, to solve for the time, we divide distance by the speed. We have the distance, 75 kilometer, and the average speed, which is 60. Okay? So to get the time that she traveled, we need to divide the distance, 75 kilometer, by the speed, 60. And the time will be 1.25 hours. Okay? And then we need to add 15 minutes to this time. 1.25 hours when we convert it into minutes. Okay? This is 1 hour, the 0.25 in minutes. That's 0.25 times 60, since 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 0.25 times 60, so that will give you 15 minutes. So this is actually 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then the walk from the parking lot to the office takes 15 minutes. So that's the additional 15 minutes here. So the total time is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Now we need to determine the time of arrival. So we just add 1 hour and 30 minutes to 7:55. Okay. So 7:55, and then you add 1 hour and 30 minutes. That is 9:25 a.m. Okay. Can you double check that? So 1 hour, so that will be 8:55, and then plus 30 minutes. So that is 25, 9:25 a.m. Question? Okay, good. Next, number 8, we need to factorize. 16ab cubed c minus 8ab plus 32a squared bc squared. Look for the common factor among the numbers 16, 8, and 32. They are all factorable by 8. And then common in the variables, we have a and a squared. So that's a. How about variable b? So they have all b, yes, b cubed, b, and b. So we'll take the lowest exponent. When it comes to variable, we take the lowest exponent, definitely, because that's the common. So the common factor in the expression is 8ab. So after having the common factor, we're going to divide all terms by it. So divided by 8ab. So 16ab cubed c divided by 8ab. So that will give you 2b squared c. Okay. 8ab divided by 8ab, that is minus 1. And then 32a squared bc squared divided by 8ab. So that will give you 4ac squared. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay, I'll give you a minute to answer letter B, I, and double I. So simplify the following expression. A minute, please. You can write the answer on the chat box, or you can say your answer directly. Okay, that's already a minute. So what's your answer in BI? The answer should be 2.1a minus 11.7. Okay, first you need to distribute 5 to 3 minus 0.2a by multiplying. So let me just first copy 1.1a plus 3.3, and this will become negative 5. We'll take it as negative 5 times 3 is negative 15, and the negative 5 times negative 0.2a, that will become plus 1a. And then we're going to combine like terms. So we have 1.1a plus 1a, that is 2.1a. And then 3.3 minus 15, that will give you minus 11.7. How about double I? So how we're going to simplify quantity 3x over y squared to the third power? So we'll use the product to a power. That means you need to distribute the exponent to each coefficient and constant and variable inside, both in numerator and denominator. So this will be 3 cubed, x cubed, and then 2 times 3 is 6. So you multiply the exponent when you express or when you raise an exponent to another exponent. So 3 cubed is 27, x cubed all over y to the 6. That's the answer. Question? Take a screenshot of the answer. All right. Number 9. A floor is covered with 16-inch square tiles. There are 17 1/2 tiles along the width and 19 tiles along the length. Using 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. Find in centimeters I width of the floor and 2 length of the floor. So how we're going to solve for the width? Again, there is a scale that 1 inch is 2.54 rather, 2.54 centimeters. We need to give the width in centimeters. The given width is 17 and 1/2, so we can have that 17.5. Okay, 17.5 times, okay, 16-inch square tile. So we need 16-inch square tile, so 17.5 times 16. And then we need to convert it into centimeters. So we have to multiply it by 2.54. Okay, so 17.5 times 16 times 2.54. So what's the answer? It is 711.2 centimeters. So that's the width. And then for the length, we'll do the same. There are 19 tiles for the length, 19 times, we're going to cover it with a 16-inch square tile. So 19 times 16. And then we need to express it into centimeters. So we have to multiply it by 2.54. So 19 times 16 times 2.54, it is 772.16 centimeters. Okay. Now find the area of the floor in square meters. Okay, we can actually multiply this two first before we convert it into meters, or we can convert first 711.2 into meters. So we know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So to know how many meters in 711.2, it's like dividing 711.2 by 100. And we will do the same with 772.16. So 772.16 divided by 100. Okay, again, the scale is 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. So we need to divide both by 100 so that we can convert them into meter. Now, to solve for the area, we multiply these two, the length and the width. Okay, so multiply 711.2 divided by 100 times 772.16 divided by 100, and that will give you an approximate value of 54.916 square meter. Okay, that's the floor area. Question. Again, you can take screenshot of this answer and revisit them in your free time. All right, then. That will be all for this session. See you again next time. Bye. Thank you.